Hi and welcome. This is Don Switterup. I am a transformational coach and spiritual guide. And today I wanted to share with you a poem by Lalla. And before we jump into the poem, I'd like to take a minute for us to arrive and settle in. I went everywhere with longing in my eyes, until here, in my own house, I felt truth filling my sight. I went everywhere with longing in my eyes, until here, in my own house, I felt truth filling my sight. Lalla was a 14th century mystic Hindu from the Kashmir region. And I guess what first strikes me about this poem is this sense of wandering, this sense of seeking, looking for something. Oftentimes we're looking for something out there. We're looking for an answer. We're looking for a path. We're looking for a direction. We're looking for what resonates with us. We're seeking it outside of ourselves. Does it sound familiar? Many in the spiritual world see themselves as seekers because they are seeking for their own truth, their own true nature, a deeper understanding of themselves, a deeper connection to the whole universe. Maybe it's God, maybe it's spirit. And here, Lalla brings us back home. Until here in my own house, I felt truth filling my sight. Until in my own house, I felt truth filling my sight. We have the metaphor of looking, longing in my eyes, and then the truth fills one's sight. The place is within ourselves. And I want to share with you a little bit about my spiritual journey. I grew up a devout Christian, a Christian home, and primarily an Episcopalian. And I had a fond love for the liturgy in the Episcopal Church. The liturgy just spoke to me. But what spoke to me even more was the silence, the sereneness, the peace that I felt within the walls of the church. That sacred space where prayers have been asked and answered, where people had gathered in community, where hymns had been read and sung, where the liturgy had been spoken, where sermons had been delivered, that sacred space of the church, where there was a deep connection with God, with Spirit, with the Holy Spirit. And in those days for me, it was more of the Holy Spirit and God than it was of the God incarnate, Jesus Christ. This space was contained. It was safe. It was primarily a place of solitude for me, not necessarily overly connected within the community. But there was something missing, because once I left that space, there was a sense of unsafeness. Can I bring God with me? Was God always present in my life? It all depended on the relationship in the moment. But I always sensed a sense of separation. There were few and far moments of this connection that I felt with God or Spirit. And I went off to seminary and dropped into this wonderful intellectual excavation of my beliefs, of what was presented to me as a child and growing up. And it left me with more questions and misunderstanding. So I left the church, I left seminary, because I wasn't feeling called to the church to be in the role of a minister or a priest. And in my mid-30s, I started to turn to Buddhism. I was curious. I was still curious. I was still longing in my own eyes, looking for my truth. And I suppose it's only been in the last couple of years, especially since I've become a priest in training in Zen lineage, where I have filled my own eyes with my own truth. I no longer consider myself a seeker, but I consider myself a finder. And nary I say that I've discovered my true nature. But I have realized and come to this deep realization that my true nature, that which I'm seeking, is not out there. It has never been out there. It is not in seeking God that I find my true nature. It is not in seeking the Holy Spirit or Jesus that I find my true nature. It is not in teachers that I rely on or had relied on in the past that I find my true nature, that I find my truth. In my own house, I felt truth filling my sight. And let me be clear, this is not an argument against the church, the teachings of the church, the ideas of who God is or what God is, the Holy Spirit or Jesus, or or the teachers that presented such. This is not an admonition, but a recognition and an awareness that to discover my true nature is to look within. It is a realization. It is a knowing. That I look inwardly. I dig deep. I hoe the ground. I drop into the depths of my being. Towards the realization of my true nature. No doubt God, Spirit, Jesus, teachers can point to, potentially, my true nature. And many have. But for me to truly see the moon, to truly see the cloudless sky, to be the cloudless sky, to be the moon, it's not because somebody else is pointing to it. It is because I have come to realize it within the depths of my own being. And this is a practice of foregoing looking for the answers out there. And a practice of dropping in through my practices. I'm committed to my meditation practice. I'm committed to my practice of Qigong. I'm committed to my practice of awareness. I'm committed to being present with myself, with whatever is arising, so that I may deepen my understanding of who I am. And most of that, I'm not even sure who I am. That's not even the goal anymore. If that makes sense. I have wandered. I have wandered for years, seeking, looking. And it's only been since I've taken my seat on this cushion, my devout practice, my turning inward, harnessing this faith, that I see truth filling my sight. So the question arises, where does that leave you? Have you been out seeking through other traditions that have left you wanting to really find yourself, to understand and know yourself? Have you found your truth filling your own sight from your own home? So I just wanted to share with you a little bit about my story, my spiritual journey. And this journey has no doubt just begun. It ebbs and flows. It's rocky and it's smooth. And yet, when we take the time to be still, to look within, to recognize that within our own house is our own truth, that will fill our sight. That will fill our heart. That will put us at ease. That will nurture a deep sense of peace. It will nurture a deep sense of wisdom and compassion within our own being. So I offer you this poem again by Lalla. I went everywhere with longing, in my eyes until here, in my own house, I felt truth filling my sight. Thank you for spending a few moments with me today. I look forward to sharing more poetry and insights with you. If you're interested in working with me as a spiritual guide, as a transformational coach, please follow the link. And I potentially look forward to connecting with you and working together with you. Peace be with you.